Hello again, it's me again. A long time ago, I with my friend Joseph, who moved to South Africa. Him and his partner are my best friends in the world. I loved them to death. I loved them to death. I don't think I could ever live without them. We've been friends for 12 years, and I miss them so much. I have friends there. I have Ida, I have Stephen, and I have Derek, and I have John. But it's not the same. I just miss them. This is not what the video is going to be about. Why just thought I should start out saying missing people. And people have asked me, Dilla, do you want to move to South Africa because of them? Part of me does, but the fact of the matter is, if I hated South Africa, I would not move there. It would be the place where I would visit, but never live there. But the thing about it, South Africa has its good points. It has the it has some things that there are that Britain doesn't have. I mean, it's the only country in the world where we as homosexuals are not treated as equal in the constitution. If I, as a South African, met you in New York or Kenya or whatever, and I wanted to bring over you as my spouse, the constitution doesn't distinguish whether the spouse is female or male. It just spouse is a spouse. We could get married. I mean, it doesn't stop. I don't think any law can affect people's way of thinking, because unfortunately in South Africa there is this awful thing called correctional rape. It is where these assholes will rape lesbians in the believance that it would make the woman heterosexual. Fairly recently, the news report did where they did where this woman was very butch, and she was trained to be one of the referees for the 2010 football in Cape Town. I think, is it Cape Town or Johannesburg? I can't remember where it's going to be held. And these guys, in their mentality, so we're going to make this woman heterosexual. So they rape her, and they stab her several times, and they throw her into the quarry, and where she dies. So it very irritates me when people think that because South Africa has got this constitution where you cannot discriminate against gays and lesbians, that is going to prevent this. This has happened. In the same news report, this lesbian mother in Cape Town, I think it's Cape Town, her daughter was raped. In the believance, they say we don't want you to turn out to be like your mother. So to prevent you from being like your mother, we think we should rape you. And they raped the 13-year-old girl. And sadly, the girl committed suicide because of this. So it does, I do argue with my friends when they talk about this rubbish that, oh, the law is there. You can't, I can't think of the word. The Constitution doesn't affect people's way of thinking. The Constitution is there as a protective measure to prevent people from being discriminated against. You have the civil rights law in the United States. Black people are still discriminated in the United States regarding education, employment, So because there's a constitution protecting us gays and lesbians in South Africa, doesn't mean they're not going to be homophobia in the workplace. Doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to be gay bashing. Doesn't necessarily mean there's not going to be gays being murdered in South Africa, because they will, because there are. And these women are being violated. And during the court cases of women lesbians who've been raped by these men, it is not seen as a hate crime. It is still seen as plain rape. So they're not acknowledging the fact that these men are going to rape lesbians because they all think in their stupid, uneducated and backward thinking that it is going to make them heterosexual. I I just don't understand these people and their lack of compassion, their animalistic behavior, that they think to violate somebody is the way to deal with it. Yes, I can say that from my experience, I'm going to change the subject matter now, of South Africa, is that it's the only country, to my knowledge, in Africa where gays can be openly gay. I've never come across an African country where the Africans, putting the colours aside, putting the whites aside, can be proud to be openly homosexual or openly lesbian. You will never find that in Nigeria. Yes, there are gays in Nigeria, but do you think there'll be a gay pride in Lagos? Do you think there'll be a gay pride in Egypt or Morocco or in Kenya or in Congo? Hell to the no. Hell to the no. African gay men are still getting married. African lesbians and bisexuals are still getting married, even though that's not what they want. But they think they have to because of cultural reasons. And I would say so that there are black South Africans who are homosexual, or lesbian, who feel they need to get married for cultural reasons. But I just don't want people to go into the falsehood of moving to South Africa thinking that everybody doesn't mind you're gay, when it is not the case. You won't be discriminated because the Constitution protects us. It doesn't protect us from narrow-minded, bigoted, violent cunts who think they have a right to violate us, our lesbian sisters, and feel they have the right to snuff out our life just because of who we love. We live in a horrible world, baby. We live in a world where people feel they have the right to snuff out our life because of who we love. They have a right to tell us, have the right to prevent us from growing because of who we are. They have a right to tell us, you are a sinner. And it just breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart. When I watched the news article on Channel 4 News here in London, I almost cried. That woman telling how her daughter was committed suicide after being raped. Absolute tragedy. But that's what today's South Africa is. But I don't want you to believe that that is the majority, but the majority of the time, my experience is there's gay clubs, gay bars, gay this, gay whatever, gay businesses. But unfortunately, the only people who seem to be able to afford to run these businesses are the white South Africans. And the majority of staff that are working in this place are blacks and colours. For those uninitiated, colours are a mixture of different races. But they use, it's what I call the apartheid tag, where they created these categories in order to keep the black people down. So coloureds, you can get a person who looks like a white person and call themselves coloured, and then say, you know what, I think I'll call myself white. If you go to the Apartheid Museum, you would understand what I'm talking about. The Apartheid Museum in Johannesburg, a great place to visit. Very interesting. So, South Africa. Yes, the title of this video was going to be about something else, but I'm going to call it South Africa. South Africa is a great place. It's summer usually. Their summers are our winters, and their winters their summers are our winters, and our summers are their winters. If that makes sense. It's piping hot. I really love it, and I believe in the pit of my soul I'm going to be a South African resident. I've been trying for years, falling flat on my face, but I firmly believe that I'll be a South African citizen. I'm going to miss England, but most important, I'm going to miss my mum, my sisters, my brother, even though he can be a bit of a strange one, my nephews, even though he can be rude sometimes, the little ones, to Alana, to Torrance, to Jordan, who are the youngest of the nephews. Alana's my great niece, and Alana's my nephew's daughter, so I'm a great uncle. She's a sweetheart. She's only 4 years old. 4 years old? Yes, she's 4 years old. Sweet little baby. And I'm gonna miss that. I'll miss the freedom of 24 hours transport in London, the culture, I can get to any kind of food I want. The theatre, I actually went to the theatre, but I'll miss a lot about England, especially my family. So as I wrap up, adios.